So ordered.
Madam Speaker, I rise to call on my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to join with us and pass the bipartisan legislation to strengthen federal penalties for straw purchasing of firearms. I'm a hunter and I'm a gun owner, and I believe strongly in the Second Amendment. I support law-abiding Americans' right to own firearms, and nothing in this legislation infringes upon that right. This bill simply helps keep guns out of the hands of dangerous criminals who cannot legally buy guns on their own. I chair the House Gun Violence Prevention Task Force. Our task force has developed a comprehensive set of policy principles that will help reduce gun violence. To develop these principles, we met with virtually everyone who had an interest on this issue: Republicans, Democrats, the NRA, gun owners and gun safety groups, mental health experts, educational leaders, and people from the video game and movie industries, hunting and sportsmen's groups, law enforcement leaders, and the Vice President of the United States. Out of these meetings, one of the principles we developed dealt specifically with strengthening penalties for gun trafficking and for straw purchasing. This is something we should all be able to agree on. At a hearing yesterday held by my colleague and friend, Mr. Cummins from Maryland, and his co-author, one of his co-authors, Ms. Maloney from New York, we heard testimony from New York City fireman Ted Sicardio. Mr. Sicardio was wounded, and two of his fellow firemen were killed when a gunman lured them to a house that gunman had set on fire and then started shooting at him. The shooter had his neighbor buy the gun for him because he could not pass a background check. Mr. Scardino said yesterday, and I quote, "Putting a gun in someone's hand that isn't supposed to have one must be stopped." So let's pass this bill, this bipartisan bill, and let's stop it. I now yield to my colleague and good friend from Maryland, the author of this legislation, and a leader on this issue, Mr. Cummins.